Welcome, lovely changers, to another heart to heart session with Talking Toast, the podcast where we sip on life's wisdom, spread love like confetti, and navigate the beautiful chaos of our existence, one toast at a time. I'm your host, Chanel, your favorite sister friend and guide through the roller coaster of love, healing, self love, the wild adventure that is life after divorce, and so much more. Buckle up because we're about to embark on a journey of laughter, insight, and of course, a touch of sparkling wisdom. Here at Talking Toast, we believe in the power of conversation to heal, the magic of self love to transform, and the resilience that blooms when life throws a plot twist or two. Whether you're navigating the labyrinth of love, on a quest of self discovery, or simply enjoying a moment of solace with your favorite cup of brew, this is the safe space you've been searching for. So, grab your favorite beverage, whether it's a comforting cup of tea, a rejuvenating coffee, or a glass of your preferred potion, because here we talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between, all while raising our glasses to the beautiful mess that is life. Each episode will dive into the pool of stories, insights, and advice that make this journey worthwhile. Expect a sprinkle of humor, a dash of vulnerability, and a whole lot of heart. We're here to remind you that you're not alone in this adventure, and there's always a reason to clink glasses in celebration. Whether you're a seasoned loved enthusiast, a healing aficionado, or just someone looking for a bit of camaraderie on this crazy ride, Talk and Toast is your corner of podcast universe. So, my wonderful friends, let's raise our glasses high and toast to love, healing, self love, and the unpredictable but beautiful dance of life. This is Talking Toast, where every episode is a celebration and you're always invited to the party. Welcome, changers, to another episode of Talking Toast, the podcast where we dive deep into the complexities of relationships with a sprinkle of humor and a dash of compassion. I am your host and favorite sister girl, Chanel, and today we're unraveling the mystery behind requirements versus expectations in relationships. Get ready for a roller coaster of relatable stories, a few laughs, and some eye opening insights. All right, y'all. So we are back with a two-part uh episodes of this because I think this is something that is super important for us to talk about. We are finding ourselves in entanglements in relationships. We finding ourselves becoming jaded and, looking like, oh, this is difficult. Relationships is for the birds, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times we don't realize that the foundation that we are laying is not solid. It got some cracks in it, some bumps, and then you're trying to build on top of a weak foundation. It's going to crumble at the seams. Like, baby, that thing is just going to fall apart. And so, again, we're going to be talking about requirements versus expectations. And people sometimes don't realize that those are two separate things and how much they can impact our relationship. So we just going to jump right into it. Okay. This is a big topic. I find so many people that I'm talking to, so many of my clients that want to really understand their partner better in a relationship or what have you, are really struggling in this area, and they're believing that requirements and expectations are one and the same, and they're not. So let me just start with the basics. We're going to lay this foundation and build on top of it. So there is a major difference between a requirement and an expectation. First of all, Requirements are your non-negotiables, are your must-haves, are your think values, your shared goals, your fundamental qualities, all those things that make a relationship work. Now, on the flip side, you have the expectations, and those are those super sneaky assumptions that we like think or believe or feel how our partner should act and think or behave, right? And so you are getting to see who this person is. They're showing you, especially if you are allowing your person to be themselves. And then from there, you can make a very informed decision of what what you want to do, whether that is stay in a relationship or move around. And it is okay to want what you want, is you can't change a person, right? You can express what it is that you want, which then goes into the requirement. Hey, I want a guy that's like this, and I want a guy that's like that. And I'm talking about realistic requirements. None of this fairy tale social media whatnot that has relationships falling. Okay? Like, in my mind, you can't expect something of someone else that you yourself aren't even willing to give. And if you feel a particular type of way about walking into rooms with your person, you got some heart posture checking to do. Okay? Like, you shouldn't be judging your person when the world is already judging your person enough. Like, we walk into the world being judged on a daily basis. So if your partner or your person is not, living up to your requirements or those sneaky assumptions called expectations, then you are well within right to move around, but don't try to force them to fit into your idea. Stop setting your person up for sabotage and failure. Simple. Like, don't do that to them. Not only is that not fair to them, but it also just leaves both parties heartbroken. It leaves both parties feeling inadequate. It leaves both parties feeling as if they just simply don't measure up. And the thing is if you have that dialogue in the beginning about what it is that you are requiring versus these expectations, I I have this sneaky suspicion that things would flow so much better. And here's the thing, I'm saying it because at one time I was guilty of it too. Like, I would talk about all my non-negotiables, blah blah blah, and I felt like that's where the communication ended. And then because I said all of those things, right, I automatically had that expectation that my person would fall in line and act accordingly. But that wasn't fair to my person, right? And it wasn't fair to me, and it wasn't fair to the relationship as a whole. And that, you know, it hinders the growth of the relationship. You stay stuck at square one because you're still trying to navigate why your person isn't showing up in a way that you want them to show up. Period. And here's the thing too, in getting to know a person, you got to check a person's heart posture too. A lot of women, I know we say we want a man with money, excuse me, we want a man with money, right? But for me, he could have money, but he a man of generosity, right? Like, he could be a millionaire, but if he's not generous, he's not going to show up inside of those quote unquote expectations that you're wanting. He's not going to move in a way in which you have envisioned inside your head. But if you talk about those things, then you give that person the permission to make a conscious choice of whether they want to be or not be in a relationship with you. And you cannot be fearful of saying what it is that you want or need simply because you don't want to set yourself up or them up for failure, and you don't want to walk through another season of heartbreak. Like, nobody wants to do that at all. Those unspoken expectations is a pure trap. It is a pure trap. Like, again, as I said before, it is a silent assassination into a relationship. Like, we expect, again, our partners to just get it. And that's not it. Like, we have to take several things into account of why this person is the way that they are, or what is their past experiences like in relationships, what is their home life, of how they were raised, what did they see growing up as far as relationships go. Were they around loving relationships? Do they come from a broken home? Did they see abuse of any kind, not just physical but financial, mental, spiritual, and unfortunately physical abuse? Like, what was their upbringing like, and what is their viewpoint on relationships? Is their viewpoint on relationships stemming from what they watch their friends go through? Is their viewpoint of relationships from listening to other women talk about their poor relationships with men and not being able to take accountability for their part? Like, there's so many different like dynamics that go into this, that it's not just cutthroat and dry. And when you're dating, you should be dating with intentionality, not just hopping into a relationship with this person. Oh, he cute, oh, she's sexy. We got to get out of that. Yes, being beautiful or being handsome is a bonus. But we got to be checking heart postures. We got to be checking the goals. We have to check, a person and where they are in their lives. And do they have the ambition to continue to grow and move forward in their lives? You know, Dating is like, I say, the 30, 60, or 90-day trial period that a job gives you. Can you see yourself hanging with this person? Have you been in different capacities with this person to see how they respond to things? Um, when you go out on dates, what are your expectations of what the date is to look like? Because for me, I don't necessarily need a date, the first date, to be super high end, because if you open that can of worms and you can't continue to do that, now that makes me feel like you were just trying to show off just to get my attention. Versus if we go to the park, we go out on a coffee date, we go to a museum, I'm able to see you in a different light. There is the veil completely pulled back on parts and pieces of who you are. And I've heard this conversation from a guy. He's like, hey, if a woman is good with us just going to Waffle House, then that tells me a lot about who she is as a low budget chick. I didn't feel offended by it because that's just his personal opinion. He doesn't want to date a woman who is okay with going to the Waffle House in the beginning. I mean, personally, I don't like the Waffle House, so I wouldn't be choosing the Waffle House. I don't even like IHOP, so I wouldn't be choosing IHOP. But what I'm saying is, I'm okay with an ice cream date. I'm okay with a walk in the park. I'm okay with a picnic. I'm okay with us just getting to know each other. Because those super expensive dates, you are willing to drop $300-400 on a person that you don't even really know that you're gonna like in 30 minutes. Like, to me, that's just, no. I'm not about to drop $300-400 on somebody I don't like. But it all just goes a part of the idea, is what I'm saying. Like, get to know a person's heart posture, get to know a person pull back the veil of all of the fancy stuff, the makeup, the dress up, the whole 9 yards, and genuinely get to see and know a person for who they are. And that way you can really start to lay the right foundation inside of the requirements, and you can speak about those expectations. Period. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're definitely going to, get into a few more things, that Hollywood romance, that social media romance. Got a couple stories for you. And we're just going to continue to build upon our foundation right after this commercial break. All right, welcome back. All right, we're going to keep moving this forward. So, during commercial break, I had like this really quick thought. Well, not even a thought, it's just a story that popped into my head. I remember a friend some time ago that had expected her partner to remember every anniversary. She just was like that super lovey, kind of quirky, young lady. But yeah, she wanted him to remember every single anniversary, even the first time that they met at this quirky little coffee shop, right? And to sum the story up, we just gonna say that he had no idea that this is what she wanted, and ended up in the doghouse quite often, to say the least. But that is that unspoken expectation. She expected him to remember these and never said anything to him. And the thing of it is that if she had told him, there wouldn't have been the setup for him to fail. There would have been the setup for him to succeed in that area, because he knew that that's what you wanted, right? And if he was listening and paying attention, he would know that it means a lot to you, for you to or meant a lot to her, should I say, for him to have remembered that. And she would have been able to get what she wanted out of it, which was, that heartfelt connection, maybe some flowers, some candy, maybe a coffee from that quirky coffee shop that was in the cup with their name on it. I don't know, but it would have made her happy, and he wouldn't have been in the doghouse. And that unexpected or unspoken expectation hurt really both of them. And it just, that, quick little portion of the story is just serving as a reminder that communication is only half of the key. The other half of the key is communicating in the way in which your partner or your person is going to understand what it is that you are saying to them. But yeah, we're gonna we're gonna move on. So we are in an age of social media. All relationships are on the front line of being seen, especially if you're a celebrity in the spotlight. Excuse me. We have a lot of celebrities who are in beautiful relationships, and you know nothing about their relationship, not even the fact that they had children. And they did a very good job about keeping their personal life, and their business life. And so I think that, especially for us as women, because we're so emotionally driven, and we aspire to have like these Hollywood fairy tale lives and things, and that doesn't work for all of us. I'm just saying, in a general consensus of it, we want to be able to travel and have a man that's going to provide and profess and protect us. All of us want that, but we all want it on different scales. So let me say it like that. I personally, I want a man who is spontaneous and loves to travel, loves to have fun, who loves to converse about life events and, build and goal setting and is goal oriented. I want a man that has a generous heart. I want a man that has a dope ass work ethic. My work ethic is ridiculous. So I need somebody, and I say ridiculous in a good way, not a bad way. um, so I need somebody that's gonna match my energy. I get up, I go to one job, I may, have to do something else. I'm working on my business when I finish this thing, and then I may be traveling to go here, and still in that travel I'm working on business. I might be flying out to make a dress for someone. I might be flying out to connect with someone for some designs that they want me to create for their clothing line. So I'm consistently busy, and I do find the time to, be at home, settle with the kids and things of that nature. But I need somebody whose work ethic matches mine, right? Or at least we are on the same playing field as working towards our goals and reaching our goals. You know, I know that I'm not okay with complacency. So I don't want a man that is complacent with just being where he is. If he is a 9 to 5 worker, great. I'm not knocking a man for wanting to work 9 to 5. Cool. You don't want to be an entrepreneur. That is fine. But inside of that 9 to 5 that you are working, let's see for growth. Let's see for change. Let's see you reach your highest level of potential. And if you've reached that too, great. Now, as you have reached your potential, what are you doing inside of that? Are you implementing changes that can make the company grow as a whole? Are you still saving your money? Are you building up your family? All of those different type of things. And I know that every person is different. I have my requirements. I speak about my expectations, and I also say what it is that I want inside of the relationship and what I'm looking to do. And I learned that just from past experiences, checking out my own patterns of what I am and I'm not doing that I should or I shouldn't be doing, checking my own heart posture, and making sure that when I am presenting myself, I'm presenting myself in a way that I want to be received, right? And I'm checking how the person is presenting themselves. I don't want the Hollywood romance. And let me tell you why. They have more drama than a little bit. And I think that we can see their drama because, again, their relationship is on the front line. You know, I don't feel like all men cheat. I feel like there are reasons that people cheat because women cheat too. So we're not just going to place it all on the men and just be like, oh, we're perfect. We don't cheat. Nah, ladies, we not going to do that. We got to take accountability for the fact that we have foolishness too, and that we be out here cutting up and doing stuff that we ain't got no business doing. So we not going to do that to the guys. But what I am saying is that they have more drama than a little bit, right? You got these thunder thoughts that's trying to get at the guys, and then the guys falling for the okey doke, falling for the trap because she got a fat ass or she got big titties or whatever the case may be. These guys may be missing something at home, and so they go to seek and find. But that also says that they're still in a place that, there's some unhealed spaces. There is some unspoken expectations that happen inside of the relationship. There is some disconnect that is happening inside of the relationship. The females are emotional. They going off on tangents. They putting everything on social media. They talking real funky about dude after he did something, but then want to clap it. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much. I don't want that Hollywood romance. I don't want that side of the Hollywood relationships, right? But I do love love. Despite, having gone through a divorce last year, I love love. And I know that my person is out there. I just have to take my time, you know, and really just walk through whatever God has for me and just let him finish preparing me for my guy. And simultaneously, while God is working on me and I am praying over myself for God to continue to work on me, right? I'm asking God to continue to, prepare my guy and get my guy ready. It'll come in due season. But that that drama side, I don't want it at all. And I don't know anybody that does want it. And you shouldn't want it for yourself. Like that whole dramatic type of situation is ridiculous to me. It's just way too much. But there's also the beautiful side of the Hollywood romance where the guy, comes in on the white horse and is like the hero and is the savior of the day. Now, in the reality of that, you know, a guy can't always be the savior, but he can show up in the best way that he knows how. He simply can. And we as women have to be able to appreciate him showing up in that way. And guys, we can show up in the best way that we know how as well. And you got to appreciate the way that we are able to show up for you. And if it is on either end that you're not showing up in the way that your partner is really wanting you to, this is where we go back and have the conversation because something was lost in translation of what was really expected or the way that they needed you to show up. So that if this situation should ever arise again, you can show up in the way that your partner needs you to show up. And if you genuinely love your person, your partner, you're going to respect what they're asking and show up in that way. But partner, also know that you got to appreciate again the way your partner is showing up in the season that they are in. Remember that it is two separate individuals coming into this relationship, into this dynamic to try to be the best version of themselves in that moment. And we all go through seasons. And if you love your person, you're going to be there to weather the seasons with them. You're going to be there. You're going to be able to see when your person is in troubled waters and speak life into them and speak life over them, consistently praying for them to make sure that, they are being lifted up and that they are being covered. And that is so super important. I feel like we sometimes also have lost the um the fundamental foundation of what relationships are supposed to be, what courting is supposed to be in terms of biblically. Now, I'm not speaking from religious, I'm speaking from a spiritual connection with God and knowing that we're getting into these relationships with the intentionality of getting married if you that is what you want. I also think that we're sometimes so focused on marriage that we forget the covenant part. We forget that we are supposed to be, not only committed to ourselves, but committed to each other. And then that's a whole nother dynamic and a whole nother episode. But it's just the thing of knowing why you're dating and moving in intentionality. And when you know why you're dating, moving into the intentionality of it all, you are then going to do what we did in the beginning, build and lay that strong foundation. I'm again speaking on the Hollywood romance and where that can translate into real life. We want somebody to show up for us in a particular type of way, and it's all well and good to see in the movies and like, oh, that's what I want, but you can't forget that it is scripted. you know the romantic movies, it's like the hero knows exactly what the heroine needs without uttering a word, and that is not reality. It's not. It goes back into, again, communication is key, and how you verbalize is for your partner to understand that. While I'm saying that, it's so funny, it popped another story into my mind. um Another friend of mine literally expected for her partner to give her flowers every week, right? And if you listen to my previous episodes, I've shared that I didn't even realize that I like flowers until I was going through another part of my healing last year. And I realized how much I like flowers. So I was buying me flowers every week. When and if I get into another relationship, that is something that I am going to communicate, right? But my friend didn't communicate this to the guy. And it turned out that the guy thought that the like buying the flowers and all of that stuff was reserved for apologies. And so he's thinking one thing about flowers. She's looking at it in another way about the flowers. And then that's where that, again, that miscommunication comes in. You want him to do or be something that you've never communicated, and he doesn't know how to show up for you in that manner because you never did it. And that may not be something he's ever experienced before. He may have literally only had to buy flowers or only saw buying flowers for your girl or your wife when there was troubled waters. It's like, I buy the flowers because I'm saying I apologize and I love you. Not that flowers resonate with him in the thought of, I love my girl. I just want to get her some flowers to let her know that I'm thinking about her. He may have thought that I could, oh, you know what? I know that she likes this favorite dish. I'm going to cook her this dish or whatever the case may be. But again, miscommunication at its finest. She and I talked about it, and I told her, like, you was slick wrong for that. Don't do that to that guy because he's a good guy. But you're placing unspoken expectations on him and you never communicated what is. And so, how is it fair to him? So, y'all, we're going to take another quick commercial break. Make sure that we thank our sponsor, and we'll be back with the power of open communication and finding the balance in it all. So stay tuned. Hey, changers. I have a special thank you yet again to our sponsor who is sponsoring yet another episode of Talking Toast. And I am so thankful and so elated to be connected with this brand. So this episode is being sponsored by none other than Second and Six, a fashion sports brand that is based out of Washington, D.C. The owner is so super dope and so super phenomenal. Definitely gives back to the community, sponsoring again yet another episode, and has a phenomenal brand. The brand is not only for an athlete, but it is for every man, woman, or teen that is looking for comfortable yet fashionable athletic wear. Be sure to shop with them on www.second, the letter N, 6six.com, and follow them on Instagram at the exact same name, second, the letter N, 6. Be sure to shop with them, y'all. Share the brand. Put a little buzz in the street about them. Okay? It is a business with big business energy, baby. Back to the episode. All right, changers, welcome back. Welcome back. We had to make sure that we gave a shout out to our sponsor, Second and Six. Sponsored another episode and pay some quick bills, okay? Because without the sponsorship, baby, this thing does not get to continue on. And it doesn't continue on, most importantly, without my listeners. So let me make sure that I give y'all a mid episode thank you for tuning in and staying connected with your girl, AA, on Talking Toast, baby. Talking Toast, where we are all about changing, growing, and having the tough conversations. Okay, all right. So back to what we are talking about, the power of open communication, y'all. All right. So the biggest thing that, a lot of people struggle with is communication, having those tough conversations, being able to really dialogue with each other. So, how do we avoid that unspoken expectation trap? It's all that I've been saying throughout this episode. Communicate. But then the key to that is, how are you communicating? Are you communicating from a closed mind? Are you communicating from a emotional standpoint? Are you communicating from only your previous expectations? And are you communicating from like a closed heart? Like, how? Really dive deep and reflect in to how you are communicating your needs, your desires, your weird quirks, all of those things, your favorite foods, and I mean, here's the thing, your allergies, your requirements. Like, how legitimately are you communicating these things? Are you vague? Uh, Is there bullet holes in what it is? Is there more questions than answers to, be able to navigate? And I know sometimes, here's the deal, you can't lay everything out on the line, because sometimes there may be a situation to arise that you're like, I don't like that. So in that moment, how you communicate that with your partner matters, because you don't want to, oh, how am I trying to say this? Because legitimately, like, it may make you upset. Let's just say you're upset at something that happened in a situation and you don't like that. You don't want to come across like you're being an asshole in it. Communicate in love, communicate in a way in which they can resonate with what you're saying and not automatically be defensive. Like, you don't want them on guard based on the fact that you're communicating something with them. And if you're communicating in love and you are seeing that they aren't able to receive it, then maybe, not maybe, then that shows you it is time for another type of dialogue. Hey, what's causing you to be defensive? What is causing you to feel attacked by what I'm saying right now? I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm just simply informing you that that is something that I don't like, so that if we find ourselves in this situation again, you already know that I don't like it. Simple. But if you don't communicate or ask those questions, you'll never know. And instead of you getting defensive because they're getting defensive, and now you're at each other and still don't have the information that is needed, just have a dialogue. Have it. And I know that comes with practice, that comes with maturity, that comes with time, that comes with patience. But if you start to practice it, you start to incorporate that in what is happening, there it can be some changes. There can be that, okay, this is a part of our foundation. This is something new. I've never had that. Now, that goes into another point. If you realize that the person that you're with has never had that type of dynamic in their relationship, give them a bit of grace and just let them know, like, hey, you don't have to be defensive with me. You don't have to carry that kind of energy with me, because that's not why I'm here. It's about us growing and breaking the cycles of what it is. Now, don't get it twisted. After you've communicated these things several times and your partner is still showing that they're simply going to stay stuck, you got some choices to make, right? They're showing you that they're simply not going to change that. And so you got some choices to make, and you have to make those choices in accordance. But I always say, have the communication, keep open dialogue between each other, do it in love, move in love, be and say all of the things in love inside of the relationship. And I get it, it's not cutthroat and dry, and I'm not trying to make it that way. I'm just giving, one part of the spectrum or one part of it all. But again, it is two parties coming together to try to make it right. And communication is a big thing. I know in the Black community, we all struggle to communicate so many different things because we may not have been raised in that way. We've never learned how to communicate. The communication that we've received from our parents or people in the world have been broken, and we've been left and with more questions than answers, and that is the way that we've learned to communicate. And so sometimes it's our own bad patterns and poor habits that have to be broken in order to be able to move forward inside of a communication, inside of a relationship. And so that shows us that we still have work to do on ourselves, right? And that's a part of laying that beautiful foundation. Okay. Excuse me. I'm loving this. I hope that you all are getting something out of this, as much as I am sharing it with you all, because these things are important. I hate seeing broken relationships, even for myself. I just learned so much, and I just wanted to make sure that I share it with y'all. I have really great dialogue and communication with my friends, and in regards to relationships, in regards to friendships, in regards to business. I am cultivating a new space of, particular type of people around me. And that's just it just is what it is in that. So let's move on, because I want to make sure that I also touch base about finding the balance in between requirements and expectations. It is definitely okay to have standards, as you should have standards, um, but you definitely don't want to set yourself up for disappointment by expecting your partner to be a mind reader. And it still goes back into communication. It goes back into setting that foundation. I feel like expectations is the mother of disappointment, especially when you don't say what it is that you want to say. And so, as we walk into different seasons and different places in our lives, we may have to communicate, hey, this is where I am right now in this season of my life, because your life is still individualized. Even though you're in a relationship, especially when you're in a marriage, you become one, but you're still an individual, right? Excuse me. And so therefore we have to communicate to our partner, hey, this is where I am in my life, and there is a newfound set of requirements or a newfound set of expectations. And also ask, where are you? If you see that there's some changes in your partner and they may not necessarily be communicating with you, ask them, hey, where are you in your season? I see that you're a little more stressed out. Is there anything that I can do to help take that pressure off of you? I know, individually we have our own pressures, right? As women, we're not protected as much. And for Black women, we're always angry or entitled, an angry Black woman for expressing what it is that we feel. It's so many different dynamics. As men, they have so many things placed on their shoulders, from being the provider and the professor of love, and the society telling them how they should be and how they should show up, and they have to also show up as husbands and boyfriends and fathers. We have to show up as mothers and wives and cooks and counselors and stylists and hairdressers and lawyers, and dads have to show up as superheroes and car fixers, and we just have so many titles that we carry, and we just get so caught up in our lives and moving and take care of families. And this is that we forget about each other. We forget to check in with each other. We forget to communicate with each other. Life becomes all about the kids and living and just surviving, that we forget that those kids are going to be grown and out of the house, and we still have to have each other. Got to find a balance, got to have date night, got to have those moments where you're conversing, got to have those moments where you're talking about the seasons that you're in your life, talking about work, talking about goals, because goals do change. You know, your aspirations, your dreams shift a little bit, and you got to include your partner in on those shifting of your dreams or the shifting of the goals. Don't just shift and don't include your partner, and then your partner is left out to dry, but then get mad when they're not on the same page with you. You didn't communicate. You didn't find that balance in between what you were doing for yourself and including your partner. Your partner is a part of the plan. Your children are a part of the plan. Even communicate with your children and let them know where things are changing, because our children are people too, and they feel the shift. They feel when something is wrong. They feel when something is off. They also feel when things are moving in a different direction, and they can get thrown off too by unexpected change. They're learning. They don't always know how to embrace the change without being like someone communicating to them. And relationships doesn't always mean just the romantic ones. I mean, that's the overall general um, foundation of this. But relationships are our children, are our friends, are our co-workers, all of those. So this doesn't just apply to your romantic relationship. It also applies to every other relational dynamic that you have. Last but not least, that I'm going to touch base on before or after, excuse me, the commercial break and before we close out this episode is laughter and love. And I realize we don't do enough of that in our relationships either. So I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to pay some more bills so that this can keep flowing. And I'll be right back to talk about laughter, love, and close this out. All right, changers, welcome back. And thank you so much for continuing to stay with me on this journey of requirements versus expectations. Before we close it out, like I said, I wanted to touch base on laughter and love. And honestly, that should be something that happens daily in a relationship, something that y'all should laugh about. Hugs, kisses, showing the affection, especially if you have children, because you want to create a environment of healthy relationships, showing your children the love and pouring it into each other so that they can see what a beautiful, healthy relationship looks like. Life be lifing, and I get it. It is not every day that you feel like you're full of love and full of laughter, but that's where the commitment to you, to yourself, to your partner, to your children comes in, to make the effort to show that. Work is going to be crazy some days. If you're an entrepreneur, things are not going to go right. I know this firsthand. I am an entrepreneur, baby. This is not for the faint of heart. And it can come home, and if you don't know how to handle your stress, it can cause chaos inside your house. So putting forth the effort of love and laughter is going to be so pivotal to your relationship in conjunction with the communication. So there's one thing that I realized I really want to be able to do with my partner in my next relationship is when I come home, be able to sit down and have a conversation with my partner about where we are in the day after a day in the world, right? So if my partner's at a 50% and I'm at 50%, what can we do together, right, to bring us both to 100%? So let's split maybe what happens. Hey, you know what? Do you mind coming in to help me cook dinner? We'll knock out dinner faster. Or how about, can you give the kids a bath and I will get them ready for bed and read the story? Now, my children are already pretty much grown. I have a 21-year-old. My son just turned 18 on Martin Luther King's Day, so he shares that day. And my 16-year-old is graduating high school this year, and she is getting ready to start navigating the world. And so I'm also unable to have children anymore, but I'm just using that as an example to say, you know, if my partner has young children, hey, let me pick up this and you do that. Or what if I come home, I'm at a complete 20%, but my partner is at an 80%. And my partner is like, hey, I got you, babe. Go take a bath, relax. Matter of fact, I'll run your bath water. Get yourself prepared. It's like, how are we moving in that intentionality in the relationship, right? And you don't want to see your partner upset. You don't want the household to feel that energy, that vibe. So what can we do to continuously cultivate a loving household, create a loving relationship that is full of communication, laughter, travel, experiences, all of these beautiful things? What can we do? I feel like if you excuse me, are communicating with your person, right? And each new season, each new phase inside of the relationship, they can continue to adjust as well as you can adjust when they're communicating with you. I feel like when the foundation of the relationship is in love, it's been moving in love. You all have been communicating in love. You've been operating in love. It makes it so much easier to continue to love your partner, love them through their season, their pain, their frustration. They're celebrating their victories with them, even if it's not your turn to be celebrating the victories. Because know for sure when you and your partner are operating in love and laughter and joy and happiness and peace, believe me, when it's your turn to celebrate the victories, your partner going to celebrate them too. But so many times we get into these relationships that is centered around lust, and then there's sex involved before you've had the opportunity to build all the other intimacies first. And I've touched based on that in previous episodes. Stop diving into sex before it's time. Yeah, you want to know that your partner can get down. I get it. You want to know that the sex life is going to be dope. But or however should I say, you need to know that those other intimacies are there, being able to communicate about money and your goals and your dreams and your aspirations, your requirements versus your expectations. Not talk about, yeah, I just want a man that's good. Yeah, I want a shorty with a fat butt and she can back it up and throw it in a circle and because guess what? When all of those other intimacies are on point, by the time you get to sex, man, it's going to be phenomenal anyway because you are so heightened at the fact that y'all were able to make love to a person's mind or each other's mind, heart, soul, being. And you'll be able to see if that person can match your energy when you doing all of that versus y'all banging it out in the beginning and then trying to lay a foundation of all the other intimacies after the fact. It never works out. And I'm also saying that from experience. Wasn't my person. And we, had communication and da 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 da, did that, and then it just didn't work. And it's okay. It's a life experience you learn. And it's also my transparency to y'all. I mean, not all relationships, end up in disaster if sex is there first, but I'm going to say 95% of the time when you introduce sex way too early because of the soul ties and all the other dynamics that come along with it, and then you try to build the other intimacies, it just don't work. It doesn't. It's too many things that have been involved, and the foundation was based on the wrong thing. It was. And this is such a topic that can lead to so many different avenues and all these other different things. It just, yeah, we may end up having to make this a 3-4 parter because it's just so many different avenues that you can touch base on. And I know I touch bases on quite a few different things in here. So we'll see. I may make this a 3-4 parter. As of right now, this is a 2-parter. So stay tuned, okay? Because it's going to be coming soon. I am actually going to end that here and wrap it up, and know that in the end of it all, no matter what it is about the understanding that your partner is human the same way that you are. Your partner has flaws and your partner has imperfections. And being able to embrace the uniqueness of each other, able to foster open communication, as I stated before, it creates a foundation for a healthy and fulfilling relationship. Being able to allow your partner to operate in the space and the fullness of who they are creates the dynamic of experiencing love in its purest and its truest form. And if how that person is doesn't fit you, communicate that in love and give yourself and that person permission to move into other spaces with other people. You want to have a fulfilling relationship. You owe that to yourself, and you owe that to anybody that you come across with the open communication and a beautiful foundation. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for staying with me. That wraps up another episode of Talking Toast. I want you to remember that relationships are a journey, not a destination. It is a marathon, not a sprint. I thank you for continuing to join me, as I said. And until next time, y'all, keep laughing, keep loving, and keep the communication channels wide open, right? All right, y'all. Peace. Hey, changers. So I just wanted to come back one more time and say thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking Toast. Before I officially go, I just wanted to remind you to follow me on Instagram at Provoke Change. Check out the website at www.provokechange.faith and see what's up. Don't forget to subscribe to the email or text messages so that you can be the first in the know when something drops on the website. We're going to be coming out with newsletters too, so make sure that you definitely want to subscribe so that you can stay up on what's happening. All right? And I love constructive criticism, so make sure that y'all shoot me an email if there's anything that I can do to the website to make it more user-friendly or more shoppable, or anything that you would like to see appear on the website at chanel.gresham@provokechange.faith. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Talking Toast. Peace out.